There you go.
So, I read upon some of your past work. It was very fascinating. It was very well written. Like
There's past work. You found it?
some of your posts and blogs. It was very fascinating, and it really resonated with the topics we were discussing today about the social justice and civic and interfaith efforts that you've been doing with your community. So I have a couple questions for you. In one of your posts, you described yourself as a chef who cooks with the ingredients of humanity. I found that to be really interesting. So I'm curious, what ingredients would you say are present in Saskatchewan and which ones are missing?
Wow. I don't even remember posting that, but I believe it, so I'm glad I said it. I have to think about that for a second because obviously we're speaking metaphorically, and so I want to start by saying that I actually believe that food is a language of humanity, and that when we come together, and maybe that's what's missing. I use food as an opportunity to bring people who might not otherwise come together to come together, and we spread out a plate of a table of hummus and we start a conversation. So maybe what's missing in Saskatchewan is enough food to whet the appetite of collective conversations. And maybe what's missing is learning and opening ourselves up to tasting each other's food. Now, this isn't ingredients, as you've specifically asked, but I'm playing the metaphor, if that's okay. So maybe, not maybe, what one of the things I actually do believe is missing is the cross sharing of food and ingredients. My recipes will only taste better if I learn the flavors from all cultures and all parts of the world. That will bring true life to my recipe. And until we start to sit together a little more readily and taste each other's food, that's the missing ingredient, I would say. Is that okay if I shifted your metaphor? Thanks.
So, following on the theme of food, to what extent do you think talking about common values, such as like the hummus
I think it's everything. I think, and I've actually used hummus literally as a conversation. I do a lot of interfaith work. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and we have a lot of very, very important fundamental arguments about who makes better hummus. And that lays the groundwork for us to talk about the less important stuff that changes the world, the transformative stuff. Sorry, can you repeat? I wanted to say something else, but you asked me.
So, how do you think talking about our common values will bring down the barriers?
I think when we break down any conversation, any relationship, or any opportunity, we always should go to shared values. There are very few instances where we can't identify shared values, and I was talking about structures and scaffolding. In anything, in any structure of whether it's bricks and mortar or others talked about the kind of structures that are human structures, shared values is the foundation. And once we establish that, preferably by sitting down and sharing some food. It doesn't have to be hummus, but and talking about what values we share. Then we create a comfortable space like the one we're in right now. And once we recognize the other as human and their language of humanity and their shared values, then we can introduce other subjects where we don't necessarily agree, and we don't have to agree, but we can talk about them safely with mutual respect and grow into something healthier, build something new, better. I love your printing.
Thank you. So, with such a newly diversified province, what steps do you think we have to take to build the tolerance and the respect for people different from us?
Well, I guess one of the things we have to be reminded of is that these are things we should have done a long time ago. the marginalizing and making people feel unwelcome and other has been happening for a long time. In fact, I'm probably going to ask you the question again, but it made me think of something when I think it might have been one of you asked about what brought us to these conversations, what brought us to do the things we do. When I was in grade 8, I was studying Shakespeare, and not grade 8, grade 9 in high school. And one of the students in my class said, you know, all Jews have big noses. And the teacher said, well, it must be really difficult for them to breathe with one nose. She tried to make a joke, and I, at the time, appreciated it. But when I look back now, I'm a bit ashamed of her that, I don't know if you even get the joke. She was saying if we all had one nose, how could we as a people all breathe out of one nose? Well, she missed an opportunity to take a fundamental misunderstanding that never had the opportunity for education to add some light. So she made light of it, which made me feel better. But that young person probably still is walking around saying all Jews have big noses. So what we didn't do then is what we need to do now. And I'm a big proponent, and you're going to hear all about it, of the citizenship pedagogy that's extraordinary and that goes into classrooms and overlays the existing curriculum from kindergarten to grade 12 and has these courageous conversations. And it's not just a theory, it's an actual thing with short-term goals, with long-term goals, with practical applications, from things as basic as teaching citizenship to as profound as understanding the others. So the more we learn and the sooner we get this into every classroom in Saskatchewan, the sooner we start to build a different province and a different city.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, you too.